Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is Barba223 and we are back with another build video today. Alright, so here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making a magic necro build. Yes, you heard it right. A magic necro build. Now, magic necro, actually necromancer in kind of general, is down in the gutter. Alright, it's not very good right now. Not many people play it and it lacks a lot of things, let's be honest here. They struggle to kill people. They don't have a movement skill. They don't even have brutality and sorcery. Or they lack a lot. But this build is harping on places where we're missing and using our gear to get the stuff we're missing. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. This build's super tanky. It's super fun to play. It's just different. Okay, so it's really, really, really fun. All right, so this. Before we even start, look at these styles, man. I look like a samurai or something, dude. That guy's a freaking cutie. That guy's a literal cutie. Alright? This style is new. I think it's like Taseki or something like that. But anyways, without any further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the video. And yeah, we're going to make a build video by this gorgeous waterfall here. Alright, so we are going to start with our character screen. Okay, so we have... I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay, so right now we have 35k health, we have 22.5k magic, 15.7k stam, 1200 recovery for magic, and 900 recovery for stamina. Now, keep in mind, all these stats are unbuffed. Alright, so totally unbuffed stats here. Spell damage 4200, weapon damage 4500, spell crit 13%, weapon crit 13%. Penetration, again, unbuffed, almost 6,000, and then for both. Resistances, so we got 24.5 for spell and 23 for fizz. That's unbuffed. Alright, so we're at 27.5 and 26. It's plenty. Especially when you use resistant flesh and you get those big heals and then you get a ton of resistance from it. So don't worry about that. Alright, so attributes, we got 25 into magic, 30 into health, 9 into stamina. This will come down to what race you are and all that. So, and your glyphs and depending on what you want to use. Alright, so we are an Argonian. Okay. And our food is Jewels of Misrule. Alright, this is actually a really slept on food in my opinion. I usually use Bewitched Sugar Skulls in 99.9% of my builds, but it didn't work for this one. So I'm using Jewels of Misrule. It actually gives stamina and magic recovery 315 and max health of 3500. Very good. Alright, and we are using the Warrior Mundus Stone to just get extra weapon damage because we really don't need recovery. You could also use max magic, you could use penetration, you could use, I don't know, whatever you want to use, or crit damage, crit chance, whatever you want to use. Alright, and we are a Vampire Stage 3 because reality is it's a must. Okay, so we're going to get into the gear. Alright. So, on the front bar, we're using pretty much what everyone uses if you're using a magic setup. So, we're using a Master's Inferno Staff. Alright, so reduces the cost of Destruction Touch by 10% and increases your weapon and spell damage by 600 for 4 seconds. We're using Sharpen, we're using a Shock Glyph. So, it's just good. I mean, it's really good. It's free damage. It's 600 spell damage for doing nothing. I mean, come on. It's just really good. Alright, so I feel like this is a must, just how it is. The Master weapons and the Vatestrand weapons and the Maelstrom weapons, they're all just the meta. And everyone uses them. Alright, so on the back bar, we are using Snake in the Stars. Now, this is a new set, I believe. Alright, this set is so easy to proc. It's one of the few sets that you're able to use on the back bar that actually do damage. I transmuted an Ice Staff to Powered, and I use a Berserker enchantment. Now, why do I use an Ice Staff? An Ice Staff is much better than a Magic Staff, or any other staff. I'm sorry, not a Magic Staff. Alright, for the back bar, at least. So for Destruction Staff, fully charged heavy attacks give you an 8700 damage shield. Very, very good. While an Ice Staff is equipped, blocking costs magic instead of stamina. Very good. Alright, so where else here? Equipping a Lightning Staff reduces the cost of blocking and increases the amount of damage you can block. And also, if I'm not mistaken, when you absorb damage using a Destruction Staff damage shield, you restore 1800 magicka. this can happen every 10 seconds. So you heavy attack, and you essentially get 1800 magic back for doing nothing. Alright, that's why it feels like the Ice Staff has a lot more magic recovery when you heavy attack. So yeah, it's essentially what? I mean, we'll round up. I mean, it has what? You get 900 every 5 seconds. That's essentially what it is. Alright, so not bad. Alright, so we are using Snake in the Stars. So what does it do? 2 pieces is magic recovery. 3 pieces is 1000 magic. 4 piece is weapon and spell damage. The 5 piece gives you recovery, so that's nice. And then on top of it, when you apply a major or minor debuff to an enemy, apply Star Venom, which is new, to them for 4 seconds. Star Venom happens every 12 seconds. Whenever you have an enemy that has Star Venom on them, anytime they're healed at all, any heal whatsoever, any heal, they take 1240 Oblivion damage. Alright, so this can happen every 0.1 second. It can happen every 10th of a second. Guys, 10th of a second. So if you're fighting people that are in a group or getting healed by other people, which is going to be constantly, a 10th of a second. In reality, you could hit someone for 10,000 damage a second. You're not going to. It's never going to happen. Alright, that's just in an ideal world where it's sunshine and rainbows. You're hitting someone for 10,000 damage a second. That won't happen. It is what it is. But it is insanely good. Alright, because it's just free damage. Like, it's free damage. At worst, you're at the very worst, you're going to be doing like 5k. I've seen, you know, people have told me that it's annoying to burst. And an enemy can only be affected by 1 instance of Star Venom every 12 seconds. Alright, so it's a 12-second cooldown. But this set is fire. Alright, especially on a back bar Ice Staff, where you can just use my brain's not working. I'm sorry. The debuff for Destruction Staff. Alright, the morph that I use is not working in my brain right now. But the debuff in Destruction Staff is a minor or major debuff. So you just apply that and free damage. It's easy. Alright, so we are using a monster set. So don't be mad at my helmet's trait. I have enough transmute crystals. I literally started recording before I remembered to transmute it. You want reinforced, you want impen, whatever it may be. Alright, so we are using Mighty Chudan. 1 piece gives armor. That's nice. The 2 piece gives health. That's nice. The 2 piece also gives major resolve at all times, increasing your physical and spell resistance. Guys, this is really key for a Necromancer. The problem with Necro nowadays is, for me personally, whenever I play Necromancer, and if I'm not using Chudan or whatever it may be, I feel like I'm constantly missing something. Whether it be a movement skill on my bar, whether it be a crit ability on my bar, whether it be a spell reducing or like a major breach skill on my bar. I feel like Necro can't fit enough skills on their bar to be successful, if that makes sense. So with Mighty Chudan, it eliminates that. It makes it easier because it frees up a slot. It helps your sustain because you don't have to buff as much. You don't have to use abilities as much. It's less buff management. Alright, and on top of it, think of it as getting rid of 1 skill slot and replacing it with something else. So not only does it give the armor, but it's going to give whatever skill you have in place of your armor. Right? So it's going to replace that and give that bonus. So let's say I get major resolve at all times. Well, then I might also be getting major breach at all times because I now can slot my destruction staff ability. That's how I see it. Alright, you may disagree, but I think it is a really valuable thing being able to get another skill in your bar. Right? People don't realize how important it is to get an entire another skill in your bar, and it doesn't have to be buffed. You don't have to use 3,000 magic to cast it every 20 seconds, right? So it's very good. For me, it just makes my life easier. Alright, so that's how I feel. You can tell me what you think down below. Alright, so the other 5 piece, on that note, keep that in mind. Everything I just said, keep all that in mind. Alright, because we're also using Rattle Cage. Alright, so Rattle Cage, my traits aren't perfect. Forgive me. But Rattle Cage is a very good set. Alright, so it is a heavy armor set. So we are using 1, 2, 3, 4 heavy, 2 light, and 1 medium. Alright, so what you really want in an ideal world is heavy, 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 light, heavy, and then medium, whatever it may be. Alright, you want one of each, but you want heavy on the big pieces. Alright, so we're using a Mighty Chudan shoulder, and then we're using Rattle Cage. So what does Rattle Cage do? Okay, so the 5 pieces is really good. So you get 1100 health. And then the 3 piece is weapon and spell, 4 damage. 4 pieces, sorry, is also weapon and spell damage. Then the 5 piece, you also get weapon and spell damage, which makes this set very good. Look how much spell damage you're getting. You're getting a ton of spell damage. And then on top of it, with keeping in mind everything I said about Chudan, you're getting major brutality and major sorcery at all times, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Alright, so Chudan got rid of the major resolve buff. Now this gets rid of the need for entropy. Alright, so this frees up a ton of space on your bar. A ton of space. Okay, so I know you do have the ability to use potions for your spell damage. That is true. I will give you that. But I'm an Argonian. Alright, so the way I use my pots is for my sustain. If you haven't seen or don't know how Argonian works, my favorite race, besides Britain. Alright, so you get 6% healing, you get health and disease resistance, you get magic and stam, but when you drink a pot, you restore 3,100 of every resource. 3,100 of every resource. If you go and look at your potions, you get 9,000 health, 7,500 of each other resource. So you're getting 12,000 health, you're getting 11,000 magic, and almost 11,000 stamina from your potions. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is why I love Argonian. Alright, so that's why I'm a big believer in not using your potions, on Argonian at least, for spell damage, but rather use it for sustain as an Argonian. Alright, so you get Major Brutality. Now this frees up another slot. When we go through our skills, you will understand this. Alright, so in an ideal world, again, my pieces at this current moment are not perfect. Alright, you want heavy on the head, heavy on the chest. You want heavy on the shoulder if you can. You can go light, but probably you want medium on the shoulder to get the 5-1-1. And then you want light on the waist and the hands, and heavy and heavy. Alright, so Snake in the Stars is light armor, so you're going to have to figure that out. And then we're using Snake in the Stars and Rattle Cage to fill it out. So Snake in the Stars is back bar, Rattle Cage is up at all times. Alright, so figure it out in terms of heavy, light armor, however you want to do it. Okay, so that's what we're running. There is no mythic on this build, guys. No mythic at all. Alright, so it is really good for gear without using a mythic. I mean, for those of you that don't do that grind, here's your opportunity for a build. Alright, so let's look at the skills. I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but I'm really trying to explain everything so you understand it, okay? So, here's what's going to happen. We have Spirit Guardian on the front bar. Alright, so Spirit Guardian is a bread and butter skill. You kind of have to have it. Alright, so it heals you, and it basically gives you major protection at all times. 10% of damage is transferred to the spirit. Then we're using Flame Reach for our Master Staff. Not only does it do decent damage, but it does a lot of dot damage, and it gives people the burning status effect. Very good skill. Hexproof. Okay, so in this current meta, I feel like a cleanse is a literal must. I've gone between multiple things at this slot. I've gone through a CC ability. I've gone through Inner Light. I've gone through Race Against Time. Every time I come back to Hexproof just because it's just better. I don't know what else to say. It's so good. Alright, so really good cleanse. And it's only 1,700. Stalking Blast Bones is the bread and butter. You must use it. Alright, it does a lot of damage. It's a constant ability, and it does extra damage for the longer it takes. And then lastly, we're using Arterial Burst for our spam, kind of. I don't know. I say kind of because really Blast Bones is kind of our spammable. But Arterial Burst is really good for when you're hitting. Essentially what I do is I cast a Blast Bones, I cast a Flame Reach, so the Blast Bone gets the bonus, and then I cast Arterial Burst in the meantime. Alright, so that's what I do. I just kind of rotate between 3 skills. And then lastly, we're using Dawnbreaker as our ultimate. It is actually our CC ability. So I know it's a little weird to not have another CC, but I like to use Dawnbreaker. Alright, and on top of it, Hexproof does reduce the cost of your abilities, so that's good. So on the back bar, we're using Blood Mist. Now, Blood Mist, in my opinion, is better than Elusive Mist. Now, the reason I say that is because I know Elusive Mist gives major expedition afterwards, but when I teleport away with this one, I don't really need the major expedition. Like, I still just get away. And what this does is it absorbs 3 projectiles for 1 second. And then what happens is after you teleport, I'll just show you. You teleport. Oh wait, people are gonna be mad at me. Whatever. Oh no! Okay. So when you teleport, you have this red around you on the ground, as you can see. Alright, so you have the red around you. Basically what that does is it drains health from everywhere around you for 1500 a second, every 2 seconds, healing you for 54% of the damage done. Alright, so when I buff up, I believe it gets up to like 16, almost 2k damage. So you're healing for like 1000 a second. So that's really, really good. Or 1000 every 2 seconds, I'm sorry. So it's really good. It just does damage and it heals you. I mean, it's really, really good for, you know, it helps you survive more than you think. And then we're using Vigor. Alright, that boosts our resistance a decent amount. Vigor is a bread and butter skill. It does a ton of healing and it gives you mana resolve. And nowadays, Vigor is a must-have. So, yeah. Mortal Coil. Pretty much a better version of Rapid Regen, in my opinion. Like, Vigor and Mortal Coil together. Like, look how much it's taking for. It's taking for like 1200 a second. Alright, so really, really good. It also gives you recovery, so that's nice as well. It gives you 170 recovery, which is really nice. Also increases your healing. Here we're using Resistant Flesh. In my opinion, the best burst heal in the entire game, maybe aside from Breath of Life, but it heals for a shit ton. It reduces your healing receipt afterwards, but a little tip, if you do this, and then you use Hexproof, the Defile goes away. If you use that, again, 22k, ooh, look at that crit. 21k, you flip to the other bar, you use Hexproof, the Defile goes away. Just a little tip. And then you receive resistances. So, unbuffed, we are at 27 and 25, or 26. When we heal, we get a 14k non-crit, 14k non-crit, 22k crit. Alright, so you get half of that as armor. So 21k, 22k, you're getting 11k armor. Non-crit for 7, you know, you're getting like 7k armor for 3 seconds, so really good. And then lastly, we're using Elemental Susceptibility. That's the skill I couldn't remember. So what this basically does is, number one, it procs Snake in the Stars because it's a major debuff. But it applies all 3 of Burning, Chilled, and Concussion. Alright, so it applies it every 5 seconds, or every 7.5 seconds, but when you first cast it, it also applies it right away. So you instantly get 3 status effects. Actually, you get 4 because you also get Star Venom. So you get the Burning, Chilled, and the Concuss, and Star Venom all at one time, every single time you use it. And it's a free skill, and it's a major breach. I mean, come on. There's not much else to complain about, is there? And then lastly, we're using Ravenous Goliath. I mean, you could use whatever the heck you want. You can use the Psijic Order Ultimate if you want to use that. You can use, I don't know, what's another good ultimate you guys like to use nowadays? You can use Blood Scion if you want to use that. It's up to you. But yeah, you can do Undo, that's what it is. But that's totally up to you. So, that's how I feel about Ultimate here. So yeah, I mean, tell me what you guys think. I feel like this is a pretty solid build overall. There is a flex, like there's a couple flex spots, so for me, I would think you maybe could use the flare here. So another good option could be Revealing Flare, and you could put that in spot of Mortal Coil, and because you're gonna get recovery on that back bar. And then you'll also get, you know, major protection. So you're going to get 20% damage mitigation on that back bar. So that's really good as well. So that's up to you. But yeah, I mean, that's all the skills, gear, character screen, etc. So tell me what you guys think down below. And thank you for tuning in. I apologize it ran a little bit long. It was one that needed to be explained. Alright, so thanks guys. I'll be uploading gameplay in the next video. I've been recording. So yeah. Have a good one, guys, and thank you for your time. See ya.